Hey everybody, Richard here from Night of the Nerdy Laser. On tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about Airport from 1970, which closes out our trilogy of disaster epic podcast event. We will also talk about a remake with Malcolm McDowell, one of my favorite remakes. We will also be talking about something Elden Ring. New downloadable content. So Jeffrey wanted to talk about that. So thank you for listening. Follow us on socials, Night of the Nerdy Laser on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to a podcast of total terror. Night of the Nerdy Laser.
Welcome, everybody, to Night of the Nerdy Laser, episode 149. One episode away from 150. I am your host, as always, Richard. First, I look in their eyes and then their luggage, Yule.
Good. I'm Jeff Lown.
And we are talking, among other things, but the main subject tonight is Airport from 1970. And boy, me and Jeff have some opinions about the 70s specifically. Maybe not this movie, but good stuff coming up. So thanks for being here. How are you, Mr. Jeff?
I'm doing good. And I don't know, maybe I'm glad we're done with our trilogy of disaster.
Maybe
I'm glad.
I mean, the 70s was a tough decade for us.
Yeah.
What minor league baseball hat are you wearing? The Liberty Bells or something?
No, it's the City Connect for the Phillies.
Oh, okay.
It's squeezing my head. I need to stretch it a little bit, so my brain hurts.
Jeff's a hat connoisseur, if you didn't know.
I am.
I expect a Savannah Bananas hat next week.
Oh, I have one.
I know you do.
I actually had a bunch, and I sold them.
Of course you did, because that's what you're doing with everything. You're going to sell all your toys, then in 10 years you're going to buy them all back. Then you're going to sell all your movies, 10 years you're going to buy them all back.
It gives me something to do. I sold a bunch, but I've gotten more back. So,
do you buy them from the actual thing? The teams?
New Era, the company that makes them.
But I mean, do you go to their site and buy them, or
usually?
So I told you before we got on, I'm supposed to go to the Tennessee Smokies game this week. And dear God, I hope it's not hot like it is right now, because right now I can't be outside for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I understand that.
Even at 8:00, my yard needs mowed. I can't do that. I will die.
Are you watching the Volunteers play in the College World Series?
Oh, I have watched some, but not like full games. But dude, I saw that guy get smashed into the wall, and his fucking eye,
his eye black
rubbed off onto the wall.
Yeah, that was
an amazing. That was basically the only thing I've seen. I mean, I saw the end of the one they won to get in, I think.
Yeah, that was a good game,
because that was a crazy comeback. But yeah, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the teams has to make up for it.
Yeah.
For the other team sucking.
That's true.
I know this wasn't on the agenda, but I found this coming upstairs, and I love it. And I wish they made more, but I don't think they did. Or if they did, they don't have them in production. But of course, it's Chucky, but it's a bitty boomer. It's a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh wow. They look like those old toys that were...
Yeah, the Weeble Wobbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're awesome. I would love to have a Jason and a Freddy on these.
Yeah.
I think they look really cool. On other news, I went to Target today. I did go to Target, but I also went to Walmart. And at Walmart, I did not buy. You'd be very impressed with me, Jeff. I found the Krang from the Turtles of Grayskull.
Did you really?
They had 4 of them, and this thing is crazy. So it's big, it's like this big.
Well, Krang always has to be bigger.
But But what he comes with a little a midsection that you put Krang in.
Yeah.
So he's even taller when you take him out of package.
Don't do that.
Because you have to pop them off and then plug that thing in and plug it all back in.
It's stackable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the origins are like that. You can mix and match. You can create your own people with origins.
That's kind of cool. That's
Yeah,
like,
you can take something off of, Man at Arms, put it on Skeletor or whatever.
It's like Marvel's whatever. Their main line where you could build a figure.
Well, yeah, it's more. They did a line. I think Mattel did it, where it's like mix-ins or whatever, and they did it with like WWE and other lines where you could like piece them together. So yeah, that was my. I got that Casey Jones. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's the one I want and can't find.
Yeah, I've not seen it again, but I'll keep looking.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it off Big Bad. If you don't want to wait, because that's what I've been meaning to do is just pre-order it on Big Bad, but I've just been forgetting.
Yeah.
And I randomly found it in the store.
Like you said, I'm in the middle of trying to possibly sell them all off anyway.
Oh,
but the good thing is, because they're a pie, so I did dust and clean them all. So at least if I change my mind, nice and clean.
They're dusted and cleaned.
Nice and clean.
So I know you don't. Do you know what movie I was talking about on the intro?
The McDowell one? No. What?
A remake of a great movie anyway. It also stars Annette O'Toole, John Hurd, and Natasha Kinski. And it's on 4K now. So now that I have a 4K,
I
picked up Cat People.
Nice.
Where'd I pick it up from, Jeff?
Did you get it from Jason? Down at
the dungeon right here in good old Maryville, Tennessee. He's our buddy that sells all sorts of wares. You can find them on East Broadway in Maryville. Find that roundabout. Go behind Southland Books and you will find the dungeon. He's got all sorts of 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, beta. He's got Star Trek like 1 through 6 volume on beta.
Really?
Yeah. One of them's got the Trouble with Tribbles. And they're cool. They like open up like a book, sort of.
Yeah.
You can't find them like on eBay, like that particular kind. So, also Vinyl Records is very popular. He just got the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain because, like we discussed, everything is the 40th anniversary from now till 88, 2028 at least, because I mean 84 through 88 is just crazy.
Yeah, everything old is new again as well. So
I mean that's true.
Vinyl cassettes.
Do you like Cat People?
I think I've only seen it once, but yeah, it's decent.
Have you ever seen the original?
Yeah, I saw the original.
So I like both of them. I've seen the original and this one, and I've seen it because
you thought it was
of the Assignment Horror podcast.
Okay.
Before I tell you about that, though, so Jason down at the dungeon has all sorts of things. It's okay if you don't live in Maryville. If you just go to Instagram and you follow Southland_dungeon, you'll see everything he gets in posted there right for you. And if you live in Colorado like Jeff, you can just contact him and you can work it out. He'll ship it right to you. He gets some sweet used stuff in, great new stuff, a little bit of everything. So check him out, Southland_dungeon. And the Assignment Hard podcast is something I've mentioned a few times, right? Nobody knows
I was on it. And honestly, you want to know what I covered when I came on it? Cat People.
Oh, really? You did go on it?
Yeah.
God,
yeah.
I mean, that was years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
But did you know this? It's still on Spotify.
Really?
I'm probably paying for this fucker somewhere.
You don't
I just know I am. I have no idea where. But it's on Spotify. Like John messaged me this week and he was like, "Did you know this is on Spotify?" And I was like, "No."
I'll put it into that.
but all the episodes are on there, and it's a really good show. I mean, honestly, like I love Night of the Nerdy Laser, but this was just such a different time in podcasting, and it was just cool, and it was about me, so I did like that because the gimmick was these were all my older friends, John, Becca, and Jerry, and they would pick a movie for me to watch that I've never seen because, as we know, that's a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because they never picked the classics that I had never seen.
Yeah.
They just picked weird ass movies, really.
Yeah, so there's just as much of a chance that you hadn't seen it.
Yeah. I mean, but like, we did The Thing from Another World, Life Force, Let's Scare Jessica to Death, God Monster of Indian Flats,
Cool movies.
Open Water 2 Adrift. That was my pick because I do love that movie.
You do.
Every April Fool's Day, I got to pick. We did X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, Queen of Blood, Kolchak, Fistful of Brains, Them, The Ace Fix, Black Christmas, Abominable Dr. Fives.
I like that one.
The Keep, Blackula. Blackula was the first episode. So we did some really good ones, Ghost Watch, and some we've done on this podcast as well. So we did a special episode of Tetsuo Iron Man, but I had seen that before. But I love that movie, like Jeff.
Yeah.
We did Splinter.
You mentioned two things there. You said X. That was not X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, but you said X, and it made me think they're really ramping up the promotions for Maxine. I
still haven't seen the trailer.
Me either. I just refused to watch it. So
yeah, I saw a trailer for Beetlejuice the other day because we went to the theater, and I didn't want to close my eyes and hold my ears for a minute. Huh?
You can't escape it.
I mean, it was a teaser. It wasn't the full trailer, so it really didn't. It didn't spoil nothing.
Yeah. But
I'm not excited about it though. I mean, I'll go see it, I'm sure, but I just don't care.
Yeah, I'm not at the point where I was when I wanted to see the one.
It's a lot like Ghostbusters. Like I really just wanted all this back when I was a kid.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think he'll end the trilogy unless he goes for more. But I think they'll end it on a good note with Maxine. I think it'll be pretty gory compared to the other two.
Kevin Bacon's in it.
Yeah, good cast for sure. I saw that. And then the other one you mentioned was Blackula. I've seen it. I like it. But Blackenstein, have you seen that one?
I haven't seen Blackenstein.
We covered that one on the Dead End Grindhouse podcast when I used to do that show with Tim and Andrew. I don't know if Andrew was on it at that point, though. I can't remember. He had to have been. But that was a short-lived show that kind of went on for years because we would do like one episode every 6 months because they'd be like, yeah, let's do one. I'd be like, cool, when? And they'd be like, I don't know. And it would just stay that way forever. But it was no fistful of action.
Well,
nothing.
Yeah, there was 4 of us, and it was just really hard for schedules and stuff. And then I got busier and with Frank and Con and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I really like doing podcasts with John, though. We did a wrestling one and a horror one for a while, so maybe one day.
One day.
No, I can't do anything else.
No.
All right, Elden Ring. I've never played it.
So, all right, it's from Software that developed it, right? The same company that made Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, among other games, I think. But just very unrelenting game that just beats you down. And I hate it. Hate them all. Hate all those games. But I play them because my friends play them and they help me with them. So, but they're fun. And Elden Ring, I think, out of all those, I've had the most fun with because it was a little more. I don't know if my friends just played more of it, so they knew how to like explain it to me better. But they're so hard, and the new DLC that people have been waiting for essentially since the game came out is dropping this Friday the 21st. So it's right around.
IGN gave it a 10.
Yeah, Kotaku gave it a high
and it's the only DLC they'll ever do for it, they said.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's going to be a pretty like meaty DLC too, because it's like $40, 40 or $50. So that's almost the price of
It's
another
just like another
full
game.
game. Yeah. So I imagine that they put a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
what's the
into it.
difference between that and other companies doing like season things where you just eventually pay $40?
Yeah, that's the problem with video games anymore is, they develop a full game, then I think they take away a bunch of it and then they bring it back as a DLC. I just have a feeling that's how they do it, because they're like, why would we give them a full game when we could charge them $40 more in like 3 months? And they'll pay it because they're stupid consumers. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. I want to see, because I did like the lore of this one a little bit more. I kind of understood the story. That's the other thing with these games. Like, there's a story and like this rich history and stuff, but I don't understand what's going on most of the time. But in Elden Ring, I kind of had a better idea of what we're trying to do. But yeah, so I'm excited about that, and I finished Fallout finally. I've been playing it since the show came out, pretty much. I started a new run, but I finished. They did the upgraded, like upscale or whatever, for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox or whatever. So I beat that again. Got the platinum trophy. Pretty excited about that. Only thing left I had to do was the Nuka World DLC, but I didn't do that because it's pretty long too, and I just didn't feel like playing any more of that. It's time to move on.
Yeah, I get bored really fast.
Are you still playing the vampire game that didn't have any actual bats in it or whatever?
Vampire Survivor. It's
Yeah,
got bats, but no real vampires.
no real vampires. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I played it. I picked it up, and my Switch was dead for a bit, so I put it on the charger, and then I kind of forgot about it. So I actually had something else to talk about. Speaking of vampires, but I wanted to stay on topic of video games for a minute. I'm gonna have to buy an Xbox because they're doing a new Gears of War game.
Yeah, the prequel.
The prequel E-Day.
It looks cool. Like, I watched that little teaser they did for it, and man, those.
Oh, and I watched it, and I was like, "Is that ain't who is that?" And because you don't really know.
Yeah.
And then it turns out it was Mark.
It's Batista.
I mean, why they won't just let him do the role? I'll never know.
No, even if they like made a TV show and let him do it,
fucking
or a movie
perfect.
and did it.
He's perfect.
He is.
He's
As either
perfect.
Dom
Like, I don't
or
understand it.
As Dom or Marcus, like either one he could do.
Oh, he wants Marcus. I'd give him
I
Marcus.
don't blame him, but yeah. And I like him. He's a good actor. I think he's good. He's really good in that Bushwick movie. That he's good in all the big stuff he does, but there was one he did called Bushwick that was really good.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a movie.
Got that. So speaking of vampires, I mentioned it last week, so we'll just show it on the YouTube channel at Nerdy Laser, Night of the Nerdy Laser. Blood Hunt. It's the new Marvel Vampire Summer event. I read the first issue, and it's really good.
Yeah,
really good. I like it a lot.
Comparable to anything you've read?
I mean, these big events are all sort of the same. They take, they put it's like Marvel Zombies or Blackest Night or any of these. They're just making different things.
Tie all the properties.
Vampires are popular, Marvel's popular, so they just mix them together. But this is that other thing I was telling you about.
Oh, the one with like the
bag. So it's a single bag. So I'll never take that out. But
yeah, but then you'll open a toy.
Well, but I mean, I've already read the book.
Yeah. Yeah, but you didn't see that one page that's
one page. All right.
We actually had a comic book store here in town. The closest one we have is up in Springs, and I went there, and they have meter parking, and I was like, "What is this nonsense?"
Oh yeah, that sucks.
This Pueblo is just like prehistoric. It's like all we have is like hitching posts for your horse and stuff. So I said, "What is a meter, and how does it?" The guy was like, "You do it with your phone." I was like, "I don't do this witchcraft. I'm not get out of here with that."
Well, a lot of the stores, like the ones around here, they'll ship stuff to you. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
something to think about.
it's an option. And I mean, I've told you I'll get stuff for you. And I mean, hell, I ship stuff to you.
Yeah. Yeah. You did just ship
Um,
me some stuff the other day.
I know.
Pretty cool
We
stuff.
met Walter Phelan, and
Yeah.
I couldn't say this last week, but he was an alien in X-Files.
Yeah.
And me and Corey got Jeff an autograph from it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So, yeah. Isn't he wearing a baseball hat and like a baseball bat?
Yeah. I
So
can't
that's
remember
even
what
more
episode it
appropriate.
is, but I know I've seen it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this airport.
All right. It's a thing.
1970. So this movie made over $100 million
Universal?
in 1970, I think it is. Oh, it's funny. I was at the thrift store yesterday, and they have piles of VHSs, and usually nothing really great. A lot of Walt Disney. But just laying randomly somewhere was Airport 77, and it made me laugh.
That was the one we should have done.
I know. Even Jason down at the dungeon said we should have
kept the trend of 77 going.
But we didn't. We went to 70, and so this one, if you've heard us talk about the last couple about kind of being slow and woof. Boy, those ain't got nothing on this airport. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, what it is so it made over $100 million. It had like 10 Oscar nominations. Like, it was crazy. It was a huge hit.
Dean Martin
and Dean Martin's in it. Burt Lancaster. Lancaster? Crazy. The cast is insane. George Kennedy, who I only know from Naked Gun, is in it, and I love his character in it. But it is the name Airport literally is like what the movie is about. It's just this day of this airport in a blizzard. That's it.
Yeah, no,
the whole day. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Die Hard 2 if you took out all the action of Die Hard.
And replaced it with just like day-to-day functions of like a mechanic, the ticket clerk, security,
and if you want to understand how airports used to operate, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, there ain't no TSA checks. There's just somebody like, he looks suspicious with that briefcase.
Yeah, and then you got like the HR people working with like another guy that found an old lady that's been sneaking onto planes and using her friends.
That's my favorite storyline. So yeah, we get storylines.
So many storylines.
Oh yeah, you get the pilot with the stewardess getting her pregnant.
That's Dean Martin, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and you've got a suicide bomber.
Yeah, because he's just a guy who wants to cash in a life insurance policy because he
wants to leave it for his family,
right? Yeah. So
because they don't have anything, he's disappointed them.
Yeah, he ruined his business or something like that, and he went under.
Yeah. And then there's the stowaway, the old woman stowaway. We also get the woman that's trying to smuggle in jewelry.
Yeah.
From France, and I mean, it's just
we got one more I want to mention, and I have to say it. We got the nerdy kid on the plane that's like, I see that the constellations are different. What happened? And Dean Martin just like made up a bunch of words, and he's like, right. He's like the nerd in the Simpsons.
And then the parents are like, what was he talking about? He's like, I'll tell you later, because he didn't know.
It's nonsense. It's just nonsense.
We also get an airplane stuck.
Yeah.
It ran off that's the majority of the movie, is this airplane being stuck off this runway. Yeah,
we get this like weather, we get the highway patrol that's like moving people through traffic to get them on there. We get like a bus that was like somewhere that took all these people that were gonna like a shuttle essentially to the airport. Like it's wild how much is in there. And like,
my
thinking about it,
favorite
like,
part.
this runtime makes sense why it's so long now, because we're talking about absolutely nothing for no reason.
It's 2 hours and 16 minutes long.
It's so
I mean,
long.
it should have been a series. Like, it could
Yeah.
have been a 1 hour series of 42 minutes, whatever, for like 7 episodes.
It could have been like a limited time event thing, like they used to do back in the day, where it's like a 4-part mini
It's
series.
just
Like,
a mini series, yes.
geez.
But well, my favorite part of this that doesn't exist now is the well, I mean, all of it doesn't exist. Like, these planes were huge, like, just everything about all of it, none of it exists. And
I got something I want to say.
yeah. But my favorite thing is the runway's covered with ice, so they have this like Mad Max mobile with flames shooting down at the ground, trying to melt the ice.
Yeah, I don't know. That dude, Humongous or whatever, comes out with his mask and says, "Melt the ice."
Yeah, it's hilarious.
The one thing I want to talk about, because this is extremely relevant in the news right now, is Boeing planes and the whistleblowers that are dying. Like, all of it, like, under certain circumstances, whistleblowers for these Boeing planes that are malfunctioning and people are dying. The whistleblowers are dying, and people are like, Boeing's like straight up killing these people off. Like, that's like the theory or whatever, right? Another one just came out yesterday.
Really?
Another whistleblower, and I was like, great, now we have to hear about this guy getting killed in a couple of days. But in this movie, the plane's Boeing, and something happens, and the guy's like, I'm gonna have to write Mr. Boeing and tell him thank you. And I was like, you sure you want to do that? I guess he's trying to get on his good side so he doesn't get murdered off. Like, so.
And I really don't want to ruin anything. I mean, we've ruined a little bit, but
yeah,
like, there is something that you're like, oh shit, like, so I'm not necessarily going to ruin that. But my favorite part is where they've diagnosed this woman with some sort of eye trauma.
yeah,
and like they just lay like a washcloth over her eyes, and they're like, we have to get her to the eye doctor quickly,
or something like that. And the part about that is like, something happens, and there just happens to be like 35 doctors on the plane, and everybody's just like fine, and they're like, all right, everybody. And it's not like today, like in the movie, there's almost zero panic, and everybody's just like, all right, like, this is what they're telling us to do, we're doing it, we're gonna get through it. Today, people would be screaming, people would be yelling, like jumping off of things, and like it's nothing like today. But that's 50 years difference, so I could see why things have changed. But like, there's that, and the pilot's like, all right, call down to like ground control, and we're gonna have all these people waiting, and like everybody has their own personalized like doctor waiting when they land too. And I'm like, man, the 70s were a wild time. Like, you just got catered to in every aspect that you needed when you needed it. Like, and nothing like today. They'd just be like, no, that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, so this movie doesn't age well for a lot of reasons. Look, it's shot well, it looks nice. I mean, there's nothing that looks bad about it, and
Right.
the acting is great.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a serious like time difference in like storytelling and like pace.
Yeah.
Like, this was meant for like a nice evening out, go to dinner, and then you're going to go to the theater, and you're going to see this, and you're going to learn about these characters, and you're going to care about them, and then this is going to happen to them, and you're going to get all worried. And it's just not the way shit happens now.
No.
It's just like, we need big explosions. We don't really have to care about the characters. I mean, it just like Speed. Like, do you know anything about Keanu Reeves or Sandra Bullock other than like she doesn't have her license?
No, not really. We don't even know too much about our killer until it sort of unfolds throughout the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
we've been targeting buses and stuff, but that's about it. Like, why? Pop quiz, hot shot.
But I mean, it's just like storytelling is so different now, and like even in the past 30 years.
I think it has to do with our attention span as like people.
Well, and I think it has to do with like, I mean, my dad at 40 years old was not me at 46. I mean, I'm 46. I'm talking about bitty boomers. I mean, I'm surrounded by Funko Pops and video games, and I mean, like, it's just a different time, right?
They're a product of the 80s and their merchandising.
I guess. Product of something.
I'm just sitting here looking at Fast and Furious Hot Wheels.
I saw a new one today. You know how they have the Toretto's house, which I think is
That one with the like micro machine looking car almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, Jesse, is that the guy that dies?
The guy, Jesse, I think, drives the Volkswagen Jetta in the
But
first one.
he's the kid that dies at the front in front of the house, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't pay his debts for losing his pink slips.
Yeah, and so that guy goes on TikTok and he signs the yard. And so,
here's where I died, right here. Just someone, let me sign that real quick.
That's what it'll say. But they saw one scene today where it was like the mini cars and they were jumping the railroad tracks.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, you've seen most of those, right?
All of them.
Like my favorite thing is
actually, I haven't seen the third one.
How dare you? How dare you? Tokyo Drift.
I'm a son of a bitch.
It's so much fun. Where is it? Now
I own it.
Now I gotta pull it out because.
Why do you have a tie-dye?
Because I love Tokyo Drift. I don't know what it is about it, but I just do. But my favorite part about that movie franchise is like how far it's come. Because like I went through and just rewatched them all. And like the first one, they're stealing like semi-truck freight containers with like DVD
players
and stuff. And you're like, what is? You just go to the thrift store and take those from now on. You don't have to steal trucks, buddy. Like, what are you doing? It's for family. I'm dumb. And you get that, and then all of a sudden now we're parachuting cars out of the sky, and we're jumping buildings in Dubai, and like all this different stuff, and just to see where there's a submarine, and it's knocking your car off the ice, and now he's in space, and you're like, what happened with this franchise? It's great. It's fun. It's entertaining. But that's like going back to Airport. Like, that's not the same storytelling as Furious 10. Like,
I'll say this. Who's the other guy? Oh, I just watched a new movie where the villain was just amazing. But Jason Momoa in the newest Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's so different and it's hilarious.
Yeah. And there's going to be another one, right?
Yeah, I think it's the last one.
Part 2 of 10 or whatever.
Well, I think they took out the part 1 and part 2.
Oh, so they'll just make an 11 and be like, we'll call it good after that.
And then it'll be dead for 10 years, and then they'll reboot it or whatever.
Remakes, yeah. Did you watch the Transporter movies?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, so did I. I liked them because they were always on TV, but they felt so European. Just how the characters acted and talked and stuff like that. But I always thought it was weird they did that, like Transporter rebooted or whatever it was. It wasn't a bad movie, but it was just so weird that they were just like, no, Jason Statham, we're done with you, even though you're in the prime of like your action.
Oh, they made it somebody else?
Yeah, it was oh man, what was it? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Transporter.
So I like Crank. I like my Crank.
Crank's a cool movie too. Yeah, so was Transporter Refueled, not whatever I said, but Ed Skrein plays Frank Martin Jr. and he looks just like another dude I'm thinking of, but he's in Deadpool as Ajax.
I mean, I saw the first Deadpool, but
yeah, that's the one he was in. Are you gonna say the third with Wolverine?
I think it's gonna be out when I'm at the beach, and so when that happens, I do like to go to the movies there.
Yeah.
By myself. So that if there's something last year, literally there was nothing playing that I wanted to see. One year, that's how I saw Maw. I didn't even care about seeing it, but it was at the theater and I was bored. So
I didn't mind that movie.
it's a good movie. We should talk. We should do it.
I don't think I have it anymore, but I won a copy from some guy on Facebook. He was just like, "Hey, whoever wants like a copy, enter here." And he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, here you go. You won." I was like, oh, "Okay, cool." All those guys that I used to listen to and watch their reviews and stuff, they don't do anything anymore. It's. I mean, I have been listening to podcasts for a long time, just like you, and like it's just changed so much. It's all. I feel like there's
it's hard to keep going. I mean, there's very. I mean, unless you're like Joe Rogan, I mean, there's very little. I mean, it's just hard to keep going.
It really is, and it feels.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, I mean, I've quit this thing 9,000 times.
Yep. And I always pull you back in. But I was gonna say it's like the spotlight left the indie part of podcasting. It's not indie anymore. It's this billion-dollar company, and it's all celebrity-driven podcasts now. Just like commercials. Remember commercials? 15 years ago, you never really saw a celebrity unless it was like an endorsement commercial for something like a product thing. Like voice actors got phased out. Now it's all celebrities doing that. Commercials are all big time celebrities now, and it's like, how much money do they need? They don't need to be in radio, they don't need to be in commercials, they don't need to be podcasting, TV shows and movies. Like enough's enough. Like let other people have some work.
Well, and the thing that gets me about and I listen to celebrity podcasts, I'll listen to the occasional Joe Rogan if he's got somebody I want to hear. And I mean, I really like Michael Rosenbaum. But I like Michael Rosenbaum not because he was Lex Luthor or anything, but he's a true horror fan, so he does talk about horror sometimes. And he's a good interviewer. I like his interviews because he's not an interviewer, right? He just talks to people. And I mean, I like now Chris Van Vliet. He does a wrestling podcast. But he started from nothing. So he's interviewing big time people. He just dropped an Undertaker episode.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, he's been working his ass off for 25 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
But some of the, the whatever Jelly Roll's wife is, Bunny or whatever.
I don't even know which you're talking about. Is that's the guy, the country guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his wife does a podcast. His wife does a podcast.
Oh, okay.
And it's instantly popular because she's married to Jelly Roll.
Right.
And she has interesting connections. She has interesting stories. If you're just two schlubs or whatever, that just like to talk about movies, I just feel like that's more compelling than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can get off our soapbox now.
So anyway, would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I would. If you haven't seen it. Also, if you're interested in airports and airplanes in the 70s, absolutely. This is you couldn't miss this one if you're interested in any of that.
I mean, I'm not gonna recommend it, but I didn't hate the movie. But I just can't see somebody who wasn't forced to watch this finish it.
So I'll do it like this. Out of the 3 of our trilogy that we did, this would be the one I'd recommend last.
Yeah, I think it would be this, Black Sunday, and then Roller Coaster being my favorite.
Yeah, and I think I'd be Black Sunday, Roller Coaster, this kind of in the order we did them. So
I got you. All right. Well, I just got the signal from my computer that it is going to shut off. So we are done for this episode. Leave a review over on Spotify or YouTube. Comment on our videos or audio sites. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Night of the Nerdy Laser. Follow us on YouTube and you can watch us. And you can see all the stuff we're like, hey, look at this. And we show it on camera. So we appreciate you listening. And what should they do, Jeffrey?
I really hope they could keep it bloody.
Because somebody has to make it to 150 next week.
Woo!
We're doing a Rob Zombie Firefly trilogy for those wondering.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Bye.